And then I said that Chelsea and Brighton are the only two Premier League sides to have 0 individual errors leading to a goal this season, and that proper shut them up. We're joined by Man City YouTuber, Esteemed Kompany, aka Steven McInerney, and Statman Dave to preview the big one, the first Manchester derby of the season, as well as all of the weekend's Premier League games. So, Steven, I'll throw to you first. Did Man City step out of the title race last weekend?
I've made my peace for this season. I think it's probably just a little bit too much. But all what I see now is actual good football, and the Burnley game was a long way towards that. So, and now obviously the only thing that matters is the derby and battering Manchester United.
But just to be clear, you think they stepped out
probably,
of the title?
Yeah, probably. It's probably a little bit too much. It feels nice now we're playing good football again, but I don't expect City to win it this year. I mean, but I've been spoiled, so I can't really complain too much. It's been very, very good. Just see what happens, but probably not going to happen.
Is it not a bit too early to just completely give up on your team?
I'm not giving up. I'm just being realistic. I think the idea of expecting someone else to win it, I wouldn't say that's negative. I think it's just pragmatic. I think Liverpool are a very good team and probably just about if they get there, they will deserve it. And I think essentially City have to lose 11 points and we have to be better than them in terms of the overall results. And we've been very consistent this season. I can't see us being them being minus 11 points and us being that and then more than them. I know that sounds a bit confusing.
No, it's just too big.
It's too big, I think. It could happen, and I would love it if it did, but I think the reason that it's probably like a self-defense mechanism. Yeah. I'm expecting nothing, so I can't get hurt by it.
Exactly, but, and then if it does happen, you're nice and surprised, don't you? There exactly, we go, Stephen. I like it. Right, then we move on to Manchester United. Statman Dave. Now, we have to record this video before the Tottenham game. Are you expecting Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to still be in charge come kick off at the weekend, Dave?
Loaded question, that, Emma, for sure. No, he's going to be in charge. It's a long-term project. If he's not in charge, then that's going against something that they've stated.
It's a derby, isn't it?
Solskjaer does well in the bigger games. Man United look better on the counter-attack when they're playing teams that have a high line like Manchester City or Liverpool. They actually perform really well. So I expect it to be an interesting week for Solskjaer, but definitely in the job come Manchester City. And I could see if United do the right thing, there's a few holes in the City plan at the moment. Fernandinho is a big one at centre-back. If United can get on that, then there's a chance in this game.
I agree with you, but we've heard even him say, that he's looking around and he's seeing people losing their jobs left, right and centre. You can't get to this time of year and not be a little bit worried if you're him.
Save him.
I'd be fine. Everyone else is getting sacked. He's absolutely fine. It's going to be absolutely fine at the end of the season.
Right, let us know in the comments whether or not Dave was right. Right, Stephen, as a Man City fan, what do you make of Man United's season so far?
Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. It's totally and utterly irrelevant. I never thought I'd see United be this inconsistently boring and pointless. And they are. It's genuinely... they keep finding new ways to plunge new lows, and that's what I genuinely enjoy about this United
and
team.
new highs, drawing with Liverpool.
That one thing you'll grab onto. That's my. When I was a kid, City were terrible. I used to remember say, can we have a big game in our cup final, which was the derby? We sometimes did it. Sean Goat and Muggin Neville, and now it's like, we drew against Liverpool.
League Cup, FA Cup, Europa League champions of the world. It's all coming home this season.
A long, long time ago. All that kind of good stuff. But in general, United, they're just. It's hard to say anything remotely passionate about them because it's all kind of genuinely nothingness. It's just a bit, they essentially have blended into that mid-table. I'm not sure you worked out
middle is like, your 8th to year 12th.
I think it's clear. Well, what do you consider to be the middle? You can decide what League.
Technically, there is no middle of a 20-league team.
It's quite clear that you can both disagree on this. You can't agree on it, can you?
But
it's always good to get a Man City fan point of view.
I forget about them, genuinely. I forget that United.
Manchester City.
I forget about
you. You're a Man City fan. You got the shirts on.
I am, but I forget about Manchester United because they're that guy. They look out for your results now for a laugh. I actually do, which is quite nice. Thank you.
Well, do you know what? If you're a Man City fan and you're watching this, let us know in the comments. What do you make of Man United?
There isn't many Manchester City fans on the internet, unfortunately.
Right, we've got Man City's starting 11 from the win over Burnley on screen, and the latest injury news as we're recording this for the weekend's game is Zinchenko could be ready, but they will of course be missing key long-term absentees: Aguero, Laporte, and Sane. So, Stephen, how do you think Pep's going to set up?
I just hope it's the way we set up against Burnley. That was the most encouraging performance of Man City in a long time. Probably our best performance this season, given the context of everything. And it just seemed to work. It reminded me of City at the very best a couple of years ago in the Centurion season, the 17-18 one. It was just, everything about it seemed to work. It seemed to be players that knew what they're doing in the right roles. I don't want them to change it. Honestly, there's a couple of players you could bring in, but I want this team because it worked. And I know he probably will change it. It's Guardiola, he likes to tweak and change things. But I don't know. I think like given how good we played at a ground that we usually struggle at, and we genuinely do usually struggle there. I know Burnley aren't like as good as they can be, but it was still a performance of composure. It was a performance full of precision, and it was like it just had that kind of harked back to what City can be and what they should be. So I want this. I want like an
actual replica of this. You're happy with?
I mean, I don't see any reason to change it. Maybe Zinchenko could come in, but I don't feel you should drop in a guy who hasn't played for a while in a derby game, because there is an added intensity. Even though I suspect City are a much better team than United these days, which is not a controversial thing, I still don't think you'd bring Zinchenko in right now, because it's like it just seems a bit of an ask, really. Maybe Mendy will come in. I don't think he should do personally, because I still think Mendy's lacking a little bit of fitness, a little bit of sharpness. It could be a long time until we see the old Mendy return. Angelino probably had his best performance of the season against Burnley. He was reliable, consistent. Mahrez could come in, but in a game like this, it's going to be Bernardo Silva, surely. Mahrez obviously has that kind of touch of magic and he scored a wonderful goal. But Bernardo Silva, he looks something closer to his old self against Burnley. Loads of intensity in a game like this, of course. The midfield, I think, kind of picks itself. Rodri, fantastic. Probably his best performance in the City shirt once again against Burnley. David Silva always plays well against United. Genuinely, he always kind of rises to the occasion. Don't know what it is, but he just seems to hate United, which I love. So thank you, David Silva. De Bruyne is De Bruyne. Sterling's going to start. Gabriel Jesus can't. I mean, we haven't got another striker, so he's going to play, and he was fantastic once again. Otamendi, it probably will be Stones, I reckon. I mean, I personally wouldn't change anything because it went really well. I think I could see Stones playing. I wouldn't do that, but I think Stones will play because I think Pep slightly puts him above Otamendi at the moment, and they've both been very inconsistent. So I wouldn't really complain either way with that. Walker has to play it right back, in my opinion, because he understands this kind of game a little bit more than Cancelo. So yeah, not many changes. One maybe will probably happen, but I think you should stick with that.
So you think this is what we're looking at?
Yes.
So the finished product. Thank you very much, Steven.
Though having said that, watch Gunnar come back in. You shouldn't do, but you probably will.
We shall see. Now, as I said, we've had to record this before Man United play Spurs, but via the magic of video, we can put Man United's starting 11 from that game on your screen right now. Ta-da! So, Statman Dave, as I have to contractually call you, don't I?
Yep.
If we take a look at the lineup Steven suggested, how do you think Man United would be best setting up against that?
I think it's an interesting one. I think that playing with four at the back against Manchester City isn't the best way to beat them at the moment. I think Wolves showed in the 2-0 win at the Etihad that a back three is probably the way to go. Obviously, the injury concerns or the absentees, potentially Martial and Pogba, aren't going to make the starting 11. So we might take those guys out to see how it looks without those guys. I think Pereira will probably come in into a midfield. I think the midfield three as well should probably sit more as a 3 than a 2 and a 1 in an advanced area. Of course, Martial as well. Probably like to see Axel Tuanzebe coming in, dropping him into centre-back. And then playing wing backs. I think that's quite important to play Manchester City, having those wing backs, but also the two forwards. The big space that you're going to get into City in the transition is in those channels. I think that's a really important part for Manchester United to sort of push down. The other side of it as well was Kyle Walker and it was Mahrez at the game against Wolves. There was a lot of pressure from fullback. There was a lot of pressure from the left wing back onto Kyle Walker. Wolves would shift over, then look to force the backwards pass, and that caught them out a few times. So again, United need to be in that position where they need to press down that down the left hand side of their shape and system, but also potentially look for those switches out. From the centre-back, that's another thing Wolves did quite well. Probably Maguire will sit in the middle, Tuanzebe on the left-hand side. But in terms of, opening up the door, that ball out there in terms of Wan-Bissaka getting into the final third could be quite important. Wolves used it really well. Connor Cody out to Adama Traore on that day. That could work to move City's press and move them around. But it is very much going to have to be a lot of energy in there and basically counter-attacking for Manchester United, which they've done well in the bigger games.
Yeah, they have. And Steven, looking at that, does that seem threatening to you as a Man City fan?
Not really, if I'm being honest. Genuinely, I kind of hope they do that because I don't think Wan-Bissaka in particular offers much threat going forward. He isn't particularly great going forward. That's not a controversial thing, and I know Dave would probably agree with that, but wouldn't say it out loud in the video. In general, Wan-Bissaka doesn't offer that much going forward.
Wan-Bissaka versus Angelino, that is where the game's going to be won or lost.
Wan-Bissaka
straight through, crosses the ball, goal time.
He won't get the ball, to be honest. Williams, he's a young lad. He looks. I must admit, I've seen a little bit of him. He does look pretty good every now and then, but he also is a kid, and he looked a little bit underwhelming. He's a kid basically, and I hope he has a responsibility of trying to lead that whole attacking down the side because he will struggle a little bit, and that is it's a defensive lineup, and if they give City that much of the ball, I think they'll suffer. So I hope
But at the same time, Wolves did exactly set up in this system and they beat you 2-0.
Wolves are a better team than you. So in general,
That's
Wolves...
in your personal opinion. I think you look at the counter-attack.
the table here in the Squawka studio.
The table shows that.
Upsetting, isn't it?
And also City weren't... I mean, once again, it depends on which Manchester City turn up. If the City that turn up against Burnley turns up, it's very different.
But you've still got Fernandinho at centre-back. Like, if he's versus the pace of James and Rashford, who are going to be making the runs at him all game long, Rashford probably pull over and...
I mean, they're going to be isolated. That's the thing, aren't they? They're going to be very isolated because, I mean, you put in those three that deep, they're not going to have anyone to get to.
Yeah, but the same...
They're not exactly known for their holding up abilities. James and Rashford, they're good footballers, but they're not going to hold the ball
against that. The entire thing against Liverpool was Man United getting into the space and behind the fullbacks. And that's where City looked really vulnerable against Wolves. And that's exactly where they caused the problems.
And to be honest, Liverpool are a lot better again. Like in general, like Liverpool's forwards get a lot further forward than ours will, and they'll sit a little bit deeper. Especially if you line up like that deep. There's no way our forwards. We'd have basically Rodri dropping a little bit deeper to cover the runs there. I think we'd be fine. You can go for it, but I just don't think it'll work because I think there'll be no one to receive the ball because the size of that gap there, even on this little screen. If they're running down there. Yeah, they're really deep. I don't know. I like that formation. I hope you play against us that way because it's long balls for the sake of it. And I can't really see anything coming from that, to be honest.
Right then, ding, 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 ding. One of you is going to be swallowing your words after the weekend. We'll find out who. Right, we have a jam-packed weekend of football, so let's take a look at the rest of the fixtures in the Premier League. First off, early kick-off on Saturday, Everton-Chelsea. Stephen, how do you see this one playing out?
I can just see Chelsea winning that. Everton are a bit of a shambles. And Chelsea, obviously, they lost last weekend, so I think that's probably enough of an impetus for them to actually kind of turn it around. I think Chelsea are going to win.
Right then, Bournemouth-Liverpool, Statman Dave, of course, beaten by Crystal Palace, weren't they?
Yeah, they're sloppy Bournemouth at the moment. Very sloppy, not creating chances, conceding too many shots, and I think Liverpool are going to be too good for them. I think a counter-attacking 4-1 win for Liverpool.
Spurs-Burnley?
Spurs, Mourinho will master Sean Dyche. Burnley are in great form. Genuinely not that good form at the moment, so I can see Spurs winning that comfortably.
Crystal Palace are going to see this as an opportunity to get 3 points against Watford, aren't
they? They are, yeah. Watford are all over the place. I think managers in, managers out.
Palace decent, aren't they, at the moment?
Yeah, Palace have got a good run of fixtures. Yeah. Fixtures that they expect to win. I think with Wilfried Zaha back in the goals. I think he's someone that could maybe carry the Palace attack. And hopefully they'll keep 11 men on the pitch for the entire game. And if they do, it'll be an away win for me.
I'm not even going to go to the Manchester derby because I know you both have
5-0 Manchester United away from home. It's one of the greatest performances of all time.
You have a right to reply to that.
Comfortable 3-0.
3-0, 5-0 we're saying respectively. Right then, let's move on quickly to Sunday. We've got Aston Villa against Leicester.
Leicester. I think this is going to be a draw, I reckon. I've
been impressed by Villa this season.
I think it's going to be a really good game. I could see a draw. And, I'm going for a draw, I reckon.
Yeah, I think Jack Grealish has been one of my players of the season so far. He's brilliant goal at United last week. As well. Left wing, he's looking good coming inside. So I think it could be tough, but Leicester showed great sort of resolve in their recent games in terms of scoring those late goals. So I think Leicester City, Jamie Vardy, simple.
Newcastle, Southampton. Steve Bruce again going to be seeing this as one to win.
No strong opinions on this one. I reckon I'm going to go for Newcastle.
Right then, Norwich, Sheffield United.
Could be exciting, that game. That could be the one. Norwich have looked good at home, poor away. And Sheffield United are so difficult to beat, so ugly, but compact, fluid. They've got everything to cause real problems for Norwich. I think, getting their strikers in behind the fullbacks of Norwich City that do like to push on. So I think Sheffield United away win.
Ugly but compact. Cheers, Statman Dave. Right then, Brighton, Wolves, Stephen.
Wolves have turned the form around pretty well. They're a good team. I think they've got too much for Brighton personally. I can't really see past the Wolves victory.
Right then, let's take a look at the Monday fixture as well in the evening. West Ham, Arsenal, Dave. Yes.
I'm going to go for a draw. I think Lundberg has pushed his players on. They've attacked quite well, but defensively they're still very, very open. West Ham had a better team against Chelsea. I think there was more determination, more grit in there. Antonio in that team. A lack of flair, but some good old-fashioned work rate. And that'll do well against Arsenal. So I think it's going to be a score draw.
Oh, what are you saying, Stephen? Do you agree with that?
I probably agree, actually. I don't think Lundberg can undo enough of Arsenal's problems in time, really. So I'm going to say it was a draw.
Right then. Well, we can't let you go, Stephen, without playing the Squawka Challenge. Now, it's not your first rodeo, so we are going to give you the opportunity to stick or twist. Let's have a look so far at the leaderboard then. Hang on. Here you are. 17. Not too bad. Not too shabby. Now, do you want to keep with your 17 points or twist and have another go?
I'm actually going to be boring and stick. I'm happy with that.
Are you joking?
I'm not joking. I just don't fancy myself to beat 17.
Well, that's no fun, is it?
I know, yeah. So unfortunately, I'm sticking.
Well, Stephen, it's been great having you up until that point.
Do you know why? It's because I think I know what's coming, and I've got no clue. So absolutely no clue.
This is the problem now.
Yeah.
People are seeing the videos and they know
cheating.
that they don't want to take part in that. But you could have seen that as an advantage. Have a little Google, check it, couldn't you?
You know, if I wasn't so busy, I would have done that. But sadly,
Unbelievable.
yeah.
Well, Steven McInerney, the sticker. Thank you very much.
The next
us.
time one, I'm definitely going to go for it next time. But this one, wasn't feeling it today.
I don't believe that.
I wasn't feeling it.
Lies.
Actually, I'm going to go for the next one, I reckon.
How many would you have got? Get it in the comments
I would have
below.
like six or seven.
One thing that I want you to watch at home is a video that Steven and Statman Dave have done where they've ranked all the Man City and Man United players from worst to best on a video. Honestly, it is so good. Get your comments in underneath that as well, because I feel like there's going to be some dispute on that, isn't there, lads?
Honestly,
the list was fine.
I aged for about 4 years during that video.
So as you can see, there's real chemistry between these two guys here. Right then, make sure you give that a watch. The link is in the description. It should be floating around over my head somewhere right now at this point. Somewhere over here. Right then, Steven, tell the people at home where they can find you.
YouTube channel called Esteemed Kompany, company with a K, a pun about Man City's ex-captain. It's Manchester City content, previews, match reactions, all the usual fan channel stuff. Go and give it a subscribe.
Thank you very much for joining us. Statman Dave, as I'm contractually obliged to call you. Thank you as always. It's been good to have you back. And thank you to you guys at home for watching. Enjoy all of the weekend's football. If you're new to Squawka, hit the subscribe button, pop your comments in, and we'll see you next week.